Today's project, I'm going to make a self-watering Christmas tree stand, or whatever you want to call it. I was looking online for a replacement because I'm tired of busting my knuckles on mine, and when I was doing that I was just like, you know what, I don't want to spend $90 on a Christmas tree stand, the kind that I want, so I'm gonna build a self-watering Christmas tree stand. Welcome to come along with me. What I got was a 5-amp relay. So here's the relay. It's basically just a single relay. 5 volt. That's the part that controls the 12 volt power. That's the signaling, and somewhere in here is the power. Oh yeah, DC in, there and there, 5 volts, and then that's for the switch, which I have a float switch, which it's another story, but I have that from a fish tank ATO system that I built, and basically we're going to copy that. So we're going to have a float switch attached to a pump. The pump's going to be in a bucket, and it's going to pump water into the Christmas tree stand when it's low. So I'm not going to have to worry about that at all this year. Okay, so it's a 5 volt relay, so I'm going to need 5 volt power adapter. You can get these at Goodwill, is a really good place for them, or you know, if you have old electronic equipment, then this works great. This is a, you know, I chose 5 volt adapter instead of a 12 volt relay, just because I had some old 5 volt power adapters. However, if you were buying all this stuff from scratch, you might be able to do like a USB style pump and not have to mess with 12 volt, 120 volt at all, and just do everything on DC current from the one adapter with the relay and the float switch. But here's what we got. We have you know, an old pump of mine that I used to use for a wet saw. Then I have a float switch. I got like 10 of these off of eBay for really cheap. I got them for a fish tank thing I was doing, which might be another video sometime. You know, the 5 volt relay, and then, you know, I had an old power cord. And first things first, I want to see if the adapter that I have will turn this on. And plug it in. The line is usually the one. The voltage is usually the one with the line. I don't know if that will show up, but there's going to be one marked. Sometimes they're corrugated, sometimes not, but all the ones I've seen lately on these power adapters are just they're inked out for whatever, for the voltage where you know. Yeah, so there should be a light or something if there we go. Yep, power. So the DC plus in this case is the clear wire, and the minus is the wire with a marking on it. So that means we have power. That's great. Okay, so this is the basic circuit. So into the DC positive, I have the power adapter positive, and one side of the float switch we have the live wire just going into the DC minus, and then we have the other float switch line going into the in port, and there we go. So this means that provided I put the 120 volt into the COM and the normally closed, that means that when the float switch is like this, if it, well, yeah, technically, when the water the water will keep the float switch up, and then when the water in the Christmas tree holder gets low, the float switch goes down, it turns on the pump pumps water into the Christmas tree stand from a bucket. There we go. Pretty easy and straightforward. Now, as you can tell, it'd be super easy if I had one of those USB little pumps. I mean, you could get a super inexpensive pump and not mess around with any of this, and just hook the pump right into there, take power from the power adapter and put it into the relay as well, because these work on low voltages as well as high voltages, and there you go. You would have quite a simple, straightforward Christmas tree filler. Anyway, because I don't have one of those USB pumps and I don't want to buy one, I'm going to use 120 volt, and I'm actually going to 3D print a case for the relay. And I'm going to, cut the cable here, do the joining, and then that's that. So let me see what else I need to do. This is what I am talking about. So we're going to have the outlet here with just, the regular plug going over into a 3D printed box that will house all that. And then I'm going to attach the DC adapter and have that in the box with the relay. And then, the AC, the live wire is connected to the relay, and then the relay, opens and closes the circuit for the pump with the ground going there, and then the float switch over here to control it. Anyway, from the pump, I'm probably going to end up having, doing all this kind of as like a bucket mounted apparatus device with the float switch in there, and then I'll just have the float switch is in the tree holder, so then I'll have a pump, the tube from the pump going with the float switch over to the tree, and that's the idea. Oh, and I better put this aside so that there might be videos about this a little bit later, but not right now. We're just working on Christmas stuff. First steps first, I'm going to try and crack this open so that I can, to save space within the casing for the relay. Well, I tried several different ways to get it open, like jamming a flathead screwdriver in there and prying it apart, but nothing worked quite as well as just the old smack it a couple times with a hammer, and that worked. So now I'm gonna cut those. Those are what's gonna be attached to the live wire, and then this is of course the DC power. Unfortunately, it doesn't have mounting holes, so I'm going to try and design a 3D printed clip for it in the casing, and yeah, that should do the trick. I'm going to use Fusion 360 to do the model, and I have a CR10 printer for doing the casing. Printed out the box. Not the best. I needed to reevaluate the holes that I put in it, and the notch that I put for this power adapter weren't that great, so I ended up melting a bunch of stuff into it with my my heat gun or soldering iron, and yeah, there we go. We're gonna start by figure out, I guess I already figured out where I'm gonna put all this stuff, And it's basically as follows. Let's zoom in here. There we go. Alright, so this is going to go here. This will go like so. And then I'm actually not going to use the other power cable. I'm just going to use this because I'm going to cut it, you know, and then have it pretty much, you know, go in like that, splice it, and then go out. So I'm going to cut some cables here. This one is going to go, I'm not going to bother messing around with that. It's just not worth it to me. I think it's fine just to go around here to there. And then I'm going to use the excess wire of this to extend the float switch. Everything's in place. I actually ended up resoldering that together. This is gonna go out to the float switch. I have the live wire going through the relay. I have the neutral wire capped, and I have the ground capped. I have the DC power adapter attached to the live wire and the neutral wire. So I guess we're at the stage where it's time to plug it in, and let's get that going. So I mean, that's basically what we have here. We have the float, the float switch, the pump, and the plug-in. And this will sit on the side of a bucket with the pump inside it, and the float switch and the pump tube, the output from the pump is gonna be in the Christmas tree holder. So I mean, I guess you could also use this for a fish tank as like an ATO system, auto top off. So without further ado, here goes. That's a good sign. We got a green light. Can you see that? Yep, green light. Let's see here. And the pump's working. I think we're set. I'll just attach the float switch and print a lid, glue it on, glue the wires, and maybe put a little hanger to glue on there, and we're good. So here is the self-watering Christmas tree stand, or auto top off. If the float switch is down, the pump is on, and then when the float goes up, the pump stops. So it will just keep the Christmas tree topped off. You don't have to worry about it. Now originally I designed this thing for this stand because, you know, there's no reservoir. It's not as necessary with this nice new stand, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, here we go. It's all set up. Pump's in the bucket. Controller's on this side and plugged in. And the water's filling up. Alright, here we go. It's gonna stop soon. There we go. Tree has enough water. Alright, here's the top off in action. It's under the skirt. Here we see it. And there we go. Let's see. So it works pretty well. First day it had first day the tree drank about 2 gallons of water. So I've already filled this thing. Now at the top of the tube going to the pump, right about there, I had to put a little hole to prevent siphoning from continuously feeding the tree water and flooding the root house. So make sure to put your siphon hole